Good evening. Welcome to Epiphany Lutheran Church in Richmond, Virginia. I'm Kevin Barger, the Director of Music Ministry. This is our Music Minute, where we take a look at the hymns and learn a little bit more about them that we'll be using in worship tomorrow. We're going to go in all sorts of mixed up order today, so we'll start with the hymn of the day, which is One Bread, One Body. And this is a more modern hymn, as we might say, somewhat sparingly. And I say modern, it was written in the 70s, actually around the time of the LBW, for those who are familiar with that date. And it's based on Corinthians 10. And the words were written by John Foley, who was an ordained Roman Catholic priest. The tune really depends heavily on the accompaniment. Sometimes you can sing a tune and you go home singing it all the time. This one's hard to do that. You really need the accompaniment to keep it moving forward and progressing, and so we look forward to that. And it's often used during communion. That's where we've used it most often at Epiphany, and it's not often that we get to do it as the hymn of the day. So this is One Bread, One Body. that arrangement gives a real sense of the flowing nature of the accompaniment for that. Next, we are going to move to Songs of Thankfulness and Praise. This will be our sending hymn tomorrow, and this was actually originally written for the 6th Sunday of Epiphany, or after following the Epiphany, in the Old Lectionary. So we're, of course, not to that Sunday yet, but for the Old Lectionary, that's where it was. It was often referred to as a recapitulation of successive manifestations of Christ, which have already been presented in services that were previous to the 6th Sunday after the Epiphany. So we cover birth, baptism, the wedding at Cana, healing, conquering of evil. They're all in there. And then the 4th stanza, like several other hymns, takes on our response as humans and how we respond to all those things. The tune and harmonization of this are important because they are among the first that took the form of what we commonly see and use as hymns today. When you think of a hymn, you think, okay, 4-part harmony, and the organ's going to play, and that's what we sing, and we like from the good old Lutheran tradition. In prior days gone by, it was very common for the congregation to sing in unison with no accompaniment. So this is actually one of the first ones that actually had that 4-part harmonization that was easily supported by the organ underneath and really started introducing us to 4-part hymn singing with the organ accompaniment that we do so often today. So this will be Songs of Thankfulness and Praise. We're going to flip over to the organ for this, so we'll catch you over there. For our last, or first, depending on how you look at it, our gathering hymn tomorrow is from the new hymnal, our new supplement, All Creation Sings, that is Making Their Way. And this is a beautiful text that was written by Sister Dolores Duffner, and it makes it clear that everyone from all times, from all places, all facets of society is called to gather, to hear God's word, to offer thanks, and share in the Eucharist together. Duffner is a prolific hymn writer. In fact, we'll see her again next week in our hymns. She was born and raised on a farm in the Red River Valley of North Dakota. So good things come from North Dakota. Now a member of St. Benedict's Monastery in St. Joseph, Minnesota. And this text is set to a tune that we already know. It's in ELW. What is this place? Is one that we frequently sing to here. I think we know and like that one. So a familiar tune with some new words, and this is Making Their Way. So lots of fun. Hopefully you recognize that from our earlier days. If you are going to join us in worship tomorrow in person, that would be 8:30 and 11, weather willing and permitting. So pay attention to social media and make sure that we are indeed here. We do plan to live stream regardless of whether or not we have in-person worship or not due to weather. And if you are joining on the live stream, that will be at 11 o'clock on our YouTube channel. Thanks again for joining. Hopefully you learned something this evening, and stay tuned for next week. You might get to go somewhere different, so maybe that'll entice you. Take care. Have a good evening.